Welcome to Psychology Saturday. It's not Saturday, it's Sunday. But that's okay. This is the time when I reflect and I think about the psychological, just brain, just thoughts, you know what I mean? So I'm using this as like brain wave speaking. And so today, it was on my mind of I don't understand a lot of the important, like, foundational words of the Bible. I'm a Christian, and a lot of the words I don't fully understand. Because I was reading, and I was like, what does joy really mean? Like you read, and it's like, find joy. And I'm like, what does that mean? And it may sound dumb, but I was like, I don't think I fully understand that. Like, and then literally, after I read that, I went to church, and then my pastor started talking about what joy is. And I was like, that was an answer to prayer. That's what that was. Because I asked God what the heck joy means. And he talked about it. And understand that it's like, it is a deliberate choice to see God in things. So, like, it's not necessarily happiness. Because, like, I think joy, like, it can be happiness. Like, it can be like, oh, yay, I have friends. Boo da boo da boo. But it really means, like, finding, like, looking for God's goodness and greatness and, like, vastness, making that a deliberate choice and trying to see it. And a lot of times it happens in, like, pain. You know what I mean? It's like when we shift our minds to go, I can either look at this from this, like, worldly perspective or, like, the perspective that I'm seeing. So, like, I get beat up. Let's say, like, take what I was dealing with at work. Like, some lady yelled at me, right? And I could tell she was frustrated. You know what I mean? So it wasn't really personal. It was just like, there were no carts. So she was upset. And so my normal perspective was like, oh, I'm gonna fight. But really, it was an opportunity that God was saying, not everyone is always going to be happy with you. Sometimes you have to go, just because somebody else says something and kind of patronizes in a way the situation that is directly connected to you, or just because someone uses angry language towards you, does not mean that you're a bad person. Does not mean that you have no value. It literally just means that they felt like there was an issue going on. And I can address it. Like, I can go out there and go, you know what? I'm going to make more of an effort when I get the chance to go out and get all the cards and make sure that everything works well. So it's more, and that way, I can be a productive member, you know? It's taking that idea of, like, someone who's unwilling to listen to critiques, you know, God wants to discipline us, but we got that. He's got to discipline us because we be thick-headed. So, like, I was like, huh. Or even like psychologically, I'm like, my brain goes 38 miles an hour at all times. And it drives me crazy. And I'm like, could I just stop? Could I just stop? You know, breathe. Like, could I just not have any thoughts? And then I was like, I'm just like, it makes me angry and irritated because I constantly go back and forth, and I'm like, ugh! But it's like, that's like just a snippet of all of the things that God gets to, like, work around. You know what I mean? Like, there's not like he's in charge of everything. Like, everything. Everywhere all at once. And it's like, that's a lot. Like, to think of, like, every human being on earth, every plant on earth, every atom on earth being connected by God. And that's like, it's just, my brain cannot physically process that. Like, I'm not smart enough for that. I can barely keep my own body functioning. And I live in it. Like, and I just like have to try to eat and breathe and like drink water and sleep. Like, there's very few things that I have to do. Um, but like, yeah, that's like a weird opportunity that I guess I never really thought of. Is like, I am having a snippet of like being able to juggle responsibility and life is just like a snippet of all of the things that God is in charge of. Like, that's really cool. You know, it's like a shrunk down metaphor. I don't know. I think that's just cool. And I also think that like, yeah, there's just like, so like joy, that was like one. You know, our joy grows in like our pain. And we read that, but like it's like does it? Do- mm. But like when you look at it as taking like you be decisive, then that's pretty cool, I think. You know, it's I've never been a decisive person. I'm very much like boo 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 every 2 minutes. I'm like up and down, and it's wild. But like being decisive to look for God, it's like choosing. I don't know. That's just it's such an interesting thing to just like sit on and be like, I'm gonna choose. It's the same thing with like I'm trying to understand what love is. Because I definitely have a skewed idea of what love is. And I think, like, especially when you read the Bible and stuff, it's like you read, like, love God. And I'm like, what the heck does that mean? like, like, what does love mean? You know what I mean? I love my parents, but I'm like, do I love them or do I just, like, deal with that? Like, what does that mean? I like words. And I like trying to figure out what the heck they mean. And maybe it just brings me down a rabbit hole that I shouldn't be looking into. But I feel like it's important. And that, like, if you're looking at what love is, it's like, it's a choice and a feeling and a, like, acknowledgement and a respect and an honoring and a cherishing and a willingness to sacrifice and struggle and push forward. And there's like so many layers, and I feel like I don't fully understand those. You know what I mean? It's like, and I feel like I've always longed for that. Like maybe I do understand it and I just don't, and it's just not hitting in the right spot in my brain. Maybe it's like right here and it's supposed to be over here. Um, but maybe it's just one of those things. I'm like, what the heck does love even mean? Like, what does it mean to love? Like, I know like aspects, but I'm like, is it that culmination of all those things? Is it like I guess it is a culminate. Like it's so confusing, you know? It's like there's so many levels. And then when you hear people being like, I love Jesus, and I'm like, I can say I love Jesus, but what does that mean? You know what I mean? If I say I love Jesus, that doesn't just mean like reading my Bible. It doesn't just mean like taking some of the commandments. Like there's something deeper, you know? Maybe that's just my story, is being like understanding what it truly means to love the Lord versus just knowing about him and trying to be obedient. But also, it's like maybe that is what it means. I don't know. It's just been one of those frustrating things that I'm like, I know to love the Lord is the right thing. But if I say that I love the Lord, it means I do. And you can't lie to God. He knows, you know what I mean? And it's like, do I really, or do I just follow rules, or do I just try to do the right thing because I'm scared that he's gonna like punch me and like send me to hell or something? And it's like there's so many more levels, and has always been my fear. Is like I don't know. I want to like I want to be able to trust God with everything. And it's like my mind can't keep off him. So maybe I do, you know? Is the devil just lying to me and trying to keep me separated from you? I don't know. But I guess that's part of it. It's like he is my only hope. I don't have any hope other than Jesus cuz like that's all I got. I know what the truth is. I believe that it's the truth that there is a heaven, there is a hell and Jesus is the only way. And I want to truly love him and I want to truly know what that feels like and what it means. And I don't know if I know what that means. Maybe I do, maybe I don't. Maybe I'm just doubtful. I'm clearly I'm having issues. Um but I guess God, that's kind of where I'm at. Is that like my mind is in so many places and I'm like I don't want it to be in multiple places. I want it just to be set in that I love God and end the story. Is it just a decision? Just go, I love God, and that's it. You know, that's what I keep saying to myself is being like, I love God, and it's a decision. But I'm like, is that it? Is that all I have to do is make that decision? Like, I've gone to church my whole life, and it's like, I guess it's never something anybody talks about. It's like you're like, that's it. Like, do you just make a decision? I don't know. Faith is one of those things that's difficult, but I want I want to know God and I want to see him and I want to love him and I want to know what that truly means. Not just like I go to church and I read my Bible and call it good. I want there to be like more. I want to see what God can do. I want to know what really knowing God in a personal way means. Yeah. I also feel just blasphemous for saying anything, like any doubts, but it's also like maybe that's part of it. It's just being honest and going, I'm confused. Like Holy Spirit, I'm confused. And I could use some guidance, some help. Because a lot of times it feels on your own. You're like, I don't want to like. I feel like when I go to Bible study and I understand things, it's like I understand them. But then when I come home and I'm on my own, it's like all of a sudden there's all the like this darkness starts creeping in and these doubts, and I'm like, do I love God? And it's like, yeah. I I wouldn't keep coming back to God if I didn't. I wouldn't keep apologizing. I wouldn't keep trying. I wouldn't keep looking to God for answers. I wouldn't keep just yearning for some kind of relationship if I didn't love him and I didn't believe what I believe. I wouldn't have hope. I would have just given up on God if I didn't love him. I would stop sacrificing and I'd stop trying and I'd just do whatever I want if I didn't love God, right? It's a very confusing thing. Like, it's all very confusing. Wish it was simple. I wish it was just like a button. I wish I could just press a button, but we can't. Maybe that's the beauty of it. That's the beauty of faith and why God has it the way it is because it's gonna be weird and it's gonna be confusing and we're never gonna fully understand and we just have to say, I'm gonna keep looking to the truth and keep saying, going to God and keep saying, Jesus, I know you're my Lord and Savior. And these lies that keep coming to my head and these thoughts and this world is dark and it's so scary and I don't know what I'm doing and I'm frustrated and irritated and whack in the head and whack physically and maybe that's it. Maybe that's it. Because we cannot possibly understand all that God is in this life. All we get is this is like our trial run, this is our like practice time before the real game. You know what I mean? I mean your faith is not a game. God is not a game, but the metaphor's there in that like all this time is like summer practice. You know what I mean? It's like you're training in this whack life that didn't have to be like this, but people chose it, and we ended up with it, and we keep choosing it, and that's dumb that we keep doing it, but we do. I do, at least. And as we go, we're like, why the heck are we training? What are we doing this for? And he goes, you could stop training, you could stop trying, but if you really want to know this, how good you can be, how good life can be, how good God can be, then you'll just keep trying. And there's just something in your heart that just keeps going, oh, yeah, I'm gonna keep trying. There've been a lot of times where I've gone, God, why don't you just give up on me? But he hasn't. Keeps showing up in fun and silly ways, and keeps showing up. I got no clue why, because I don't deserve to be shown anything. I deserve to just be thrown out. Thrown out like the trash, but I guess God has said, maybe not. Maybe there's something coming. He's decided that there is purpose, that there is more that I'm not seeing. And I'd like to see it, God. I'd like to see it. Anyway, it's a lot of thoughts. I got a lot of thoughts in my head. Maybe I'll just keep. Maybe other people will understand how I'm feeling, because honestly, sometimes it's just lonely when you think of faith, and it's like, I'm just like, doing, I want it to be like, together. But God, if you're keeping on moving, if you're doing this for a reason, if you're holding on to me for a reason, I guess just gotta trust you. Let these doubts just go down the river. Let your word just sink in. It's hard when you're like, you hear these things at church all the time, and you're like, what does that really mean? Like, I feel like a lot of times the words have no value. It's like they don't they don't knead into the dough of my mind. But maybe it will. Maybe it does. Some of it does. I know some of it does, because sometimes I'm just like, whoa, this is amazing. And then sometimes I'm like, bleh. And it's like, why do I have to have like a curtain? You know what I mean? Does that make sense? Like, why is there a curtain that, like, sometimes my brain is like, yes, God is who he says he is. I feel devout. I feel focused. I feel like I am on the right path with God. There is no doubt, no nothing. And then the next moment I'm like, but am I good enough for God? And I guess, the thing is, I'm not. Like, the truth is, I'm not. I'm whack, and I've hurt enough people to create an army of people to destroy me. And if I was to be, like, you think about what Jesus went through on the cross, being separated from God, and it's like, he didn't deserve that. But I should have been up there. It'd be totally legitimate for the pain that I've caused. I've been kind of a bad person. If you look at it from any kind of normal standard. So, and yet, I don't have to be. Kind of makes you think. I should mean grateful. Sometimes it's the shame that just takes over, This is the string on my thing. I'm like looking at it, let me just finicky play with it. But being grateful is hard, and not to feel guilty. I feel like I've always done that, where it's like, instead of feeling grateful for the opportunities and the blessings that I have, that I just feel shameful that I'm like, they're like, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? It's like, I just feel guilty for having any good thing, just because I feel like I shouldn't have it. But that's what grace is having something that you shouldn't have. And grateful is the connection to that. So maybe I just need to stop beating myself up. I need to stop beating them up. The only thing I need to be beaten up is some sick beats. Wiki wiki. I don't know. I think sometimes God just is working in me. I'll keep looking to you. I'll keep trying. Because I don't know. Keep having faith, right? Let let God work through you. Be changed by the fire. That's what we'll do.